Follow me all the way down south of Korea to the city of Daegu and let's find some rare tapes. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. This week I have yet another video for you. I know last week was a bit different because I went into gaming stuff, but we are back with the videotapes this week. I guess some of you will be very happy. So let's dive into this. Of course, this is kind of like a long overdue video simply because I filmed this footage perhaps about 2 to 2.5 weeks ago. It's when I went to Daegu. And Daegu is, well, there's no more video stores there or anything for videotapes really, besides this one place that I used to go, I would say over 5 years ago, when I used to live down there in Daegu. And well, if you look back into my old video, you can perhaps see two videos that were shot there. So they're like the Daegu market, little shack, little video store, as you can see. So I'm just, going around here. I was with a friend of mine who's coming from the UK. So it was kind of a pilgrim there to see if the place was still open because I haven't been there since COVID. So it was kind of a gamble. I didn't know if it's going to be open or not. And to go there from Seoul, well, it cost some money, of course. So it was, like I said, it was a shot in the dark. And thankfully, the place was still open and they still had tapes. Although, I have to tell you, well, again, if you look back into my old video, you'll notice it. But you'll see that the shelves are way more empty than they used to. Simply, I guess, because the guy sold a whole bunch of tapes. And also another thing that I noticed is that many of those VHSs that were there before just happened to be without any sleeves, without any clamshells. So it's just the cassettes lying there with no sleeves. And well, I didn't really ask the guy, but it seems like he probably threw them away, maybe to make more space on those shelves, to eventually maybe clear them all out. And I don't know, sell some plants, because that's what he's doing, like outside of this little shack. And also one thing is, that person that runs this kind of should I say shop happens to sleep there, and it's kind of like his house. So that's why I was kind of very confident that the store would still be open. So that said, if we look into the inventory here, well, you have all those cassettes that I mentioned, and of course you still have tapes with the sleeves, but those were like extremely dirty. I mean, it's perhaps one of the dustiest place I've shopped into, maybe even more dusty than some of the places in Seoul. Although it's well ventilated, so to speak, because you have those like garage doors, like those shutters, but there's he always keeps one open, so we needed the light to check in there because it was fairly dark even during the day. But that said, there's fairly good ventilation, even though it could be humid and everything. But yeah, because of the circulation, the tapes were not really, if at all, moldy, and this is a big win, of course, when you're shopping for videotapes like myself, because how many times did I find like amazing titles only to open up the clamshell, check the tape, oh, it's moldy, or just bring it I would bring it at home, thinking I could clean it up pretty easily, but turns out like no, it was just terrible, and I had to throw it in the garbage. That said, from the trip that I made, I brought about maybe 55 tapes. I bought a whole bunch that only were like the cassettes, so no clamshells, simply because they were rare titles, and also because they didn't have any molds, so it was easy buy for me, and the prices were really good. Okay, we're not in Seoul, so all the prices outside of Seoul, if you happen to find tapes, most of the time will be very, very good. So for me, that's a huge plus. The same thing happened when I did the little trip back then in not in Daegu, in Daejeon. Same situation, a whole bunch of tapes, fairly decent condition, and the prices were excellent. So yeah, the big thing though, like I said, was to dust them all off, because that was like an insane job. Took me like several days to, I mean, it's just dust, you'd say, but you know, you have to open up the clamshell, remove the sleeve, clean it all up, and you know, like, yeah, because I'm pretty crazy with the cleaning. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into what I bought, because I do have about 30 tapes I want to show you. I'm not going to show you just the cassettes that I bought, because it's a bit pointless since, you know, I don't have the sleeve to show you. Yeah, so if I had the sleeve I would, but, and also many of those tapes that I only got the cassettes, you've seen them before. Like, for example, I have a Spider-Man 3, which was like an incredible find, but I don't have the sleeve, so I just have the cassettes, but I picked it up anyway because it was in perfect condition. So yeah, about 30 tapes that I chose that I'm going to show you. Maybe a few of them you've seen them before, but it's been a while, so why not? So the first one I'm going to show you, let's go here. The first one I have here is called Duchess or Duchess. It's a film from, I think, the late, let me check, I don't even remember. It's 2009, so that is January 2009, so it came out very late. I mean, it's not late as in like 2010, of course, but it is in the very last 2 years or so of the VHSs in the world. So there you go. It does have a bit of sun fade, of course. As you can see, the yellow isn't matching on the spine, but besides that, it's not a title I've seen very often, so that's why I picked it up. And once again, because the price was good, so for me it was a no-brainer. If we look, okay, by the way, I didn't clean any of these, okay? Usually, you know what, I only show you the tapes once everything is cleaned up. I mean, the cassette. Here I'm showing it to you. This is in the same state that I found it, okay? I dusted it off, of course, but here I didn't touch. I didn't like fast forward, rewind, clean with a cotton bud and rubbing alcohol or anything. This is how I found it. So pretty much all the tapes that I found at this place were in that condition, which was absolutely amazing. Okay, let's move on. The next one, I think I showed it to you before, although the copy I had before, I think one of the tapes was, again, moldy. What are the odds, right? So this time around I did find a cassette, didn't find a proper also sleeve, not too sun faded. I mean, this one a bit more than this one, but overall very good condition, you know, no water damage or any of that stuff. So this is a very nice copy of Perfume. So the film is 2007, May 2007 release, very nice. Once again, if you've never seen it, again, if you've never seen the film, it's a great film. If you've never seen the tape, here's the tape. All right, so next, this one, I didn't find it there, although I'm just including it in this presentation today. It's Dragon Ball Evolution. I posted this on Facebook a couple days ago, and in this big VCR group where, you know, like there's a bunch of haters all the time, which is fine. I mean, it's cool to hate on stuff sometimes, you know, it's not everything is pink and beautiful and roses and everything, you know. And of course this film is trash. I know some people question this because they're like, well, how is this rare, because I get it, you know, there's a DVD out there and this is not rare, but the tape is damn rare. You can be sure about it, because here, once again, if I do look, 2009, let me focus here to see, you have the date right here, 2009, 7/20. We didn't even have the day. So this is very late. That's July 29th, the exact release date. I love when they put the date as well, because then we know exactly when it came out, because most of the time they would just write, for example, the year and the month. So it, you know, it just leaves to speculations as of like when it came out exactly. Did it came out like before another film that came out the same month, but which one came out first? So this is so super cool. So yeah, 20th Century Fox, the original copy, Korean release of Dragon Ball Evolution, which is a third, I guess, but whatever. Here it is in all its glory. All right. So Dragon Ball Evolution. Okay, let's dive back into stuff that I found in Daegu, because that's what the video is about. Next one is Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. To be honest with you, I've been after this for a bit. I saw it, like someone I know who also sells videotapes in Korea had it for a while. I think he sold it eventually. But I'm like, hey, how come I missed that? And everywhere I looked, of course, all the copies were gone, sold, or anyway, yeah. So, but I found it in this shop in Daegu, so I was super excited. And also, I don't think it has any sun faded or barely any. It's just like the clamshell isn't like it's super minty, but the sleeve inside is in decent shape. So here you go. There's the cassette. Once again, another one I didn't touch, and it came all clean like this. Need just to focus, as you can see. Really cool copy here. So yeah, if you're a fan of Hellboy, comic book related movie. I can't remember this one. I mean, there was a reboot as well, which was not really well rated, but I found it fine. So yeah. Okay, let's move on. Oh yeah, I'm gonna cheat one last time. So this tape here was not part of the Daegu haul, but that was another one I purchased online, simply because this is actually pretty rare and also very late in the VHS cycle, and the copy happens to be absolutely unfaded, which is always a huge plus if you're collecting. The sleeve itself looks like, you know, it has a bit of wrinkles, so it got like humid, I guess, and perhaps a bit of water damage, I think, at the top. See, it looks like moldy, but this has been all cleaned up. I know it looks bad, and it's kind of bad, to be honest, but the overall, I mean, if you put it on a shelf, it does look fine, but still, this is super rare. And let's check the date. This is November 2009. So this was actually in the very last 13 months of, you know, VHS releases in Korea. So, oh yeah, the title, Public Enemies. This is the movie by Michael Mann, with the, you know, who got famous with Miami Vice, the movies such as Heat. All right. So this was 2009. Okay, the next one, I can't remember if I showed it to you every single time. I think it's because I misplace it all the time, so I pick it up. I'm like, did I show it to you guys, yes or no? So anyway, if I did, I'm gonna show it to you once again. This is The Haunting in Connecticut. I got that like several months ago, but every time I always doubt if I put it in my pickups videos or not, but hey, here it is. Let's zoom in a little bit. So this is fun because, again, this is a 2009 release. We're talking about September 2009. It's very tiny here. But yeah, September 2009 VHS release. Again, quite late in the cycle. And this is something that actually never pops up. I think it's the first time I do find this tape. So very rare. Once again, it's cool. If you like horror films, you should jump on this. It's so cool. I think the film was not that great, but the release itself is quite something. I mean, the tape itself is very beautiful. It would look good in a collection for sure. Okay, next we go into the video game territory here. So we have Dead or Alive, Doa. So that was the from the video game, the fighting video game. I think it was, I wouldn't say I think it was a crappy film, because I did see it. It was indeed crappy, but just like, you know, mindless fun, I guess. 2007, yeah, 2007 April release, which is, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's after the, of course, last tapes in the US, so that's always great. And also no sun fade on the spine. All the colors are fine, are bright and nice. So yeah, I didn't touch this one. See, this one as well, it's all super clean. And also, yeah, this one doesn't have any, you know, water damage or anything. I got a few that do have that, but really not many. And in all cases, like I said, the cassettes were minty, and that's, I guess, what counts, because most of you, I guess, maybe would like to watch the film just to see what the Korean copies looks like. And in all the cases I have today, all the cassettes were super clean. It's just a question of the sleeve sometimes was like, you know, a bit of sun fade or some water damage, or should I say like humidity, wrinkles, but that's it. Okay, I said I was talking about video games. So here we do have Silent Hill. That was a late 2006 release, I think. Yeah, it was exactly December 2006. And I did have a copy of this prior to this one, of course. But this is actually the very first time I do find a unfaded one. So absolutely no color discoloration on the spine, like purple is purple, blue is blue, pink green is green, and our red here is red. So that's great. This is from KT Media, C 2006-12, so December 2006 release. So that's really nice. It's a really nice release, to be honest. A very beautiful cover and everything, very unique. I know you also have your hologram, shows that it's original. Yeah, some tapes do have like their own like holographic sticker like this. So there you go. Yeah, once again, tape clean. Fantastic. Okay, next is something, of course, I showed you several times, but it's the first time I do get it back in stock because I think there's a high demand for this film, especially recently. I don't know. It's been, you know, that tape just, I wouldn't say bump up in prices, but bumped up in collectability, in demand. It's Star Wars Episode 3. This copy is not in great shape, and by that I mean the sleeve itself, and I almost left it there, and after that I was like, I would be an idiot to leave it there. And you know, like, even though I would sell it just more cheap than I would normally do, simply because, as you can see, all the wrinkles, so you get that humidity going on. It does have some sun fade. See, the green here is more rather blue. But the sleeve is complete. There's not any rip or anything besides this little thing at the top here. Let me focus. See here, that's it. The rest is fine. And the cassette, I think, yeah, it does have some mold. See, but this is the most mold I would find in a cassette. And by the way, I'm going to clean this up. It's all going to be gone. So yeah, that's why I picked it up, because this is a no-brainer for me. It comes in its original clamshell from 20th Century Fox, where they used to make those kind of little, how do you call it, tab, or anyway, it would clamp in like this. Yeah, so see, you have like that kind of stain because of humidity. So see, that's why I wanted to leave it there. But yeah, I found a very nice matching clamshell, same one, original one, cleaned it all up, and again, on the shelf it may look pretty decent. I mean, and again, for someone who doesn't want to spend big money on this, because I know some copies of the NTSC one, either Korean or the Japanese, which is also NTSC, they go for over $100, I think. So if I put that for like even half of that, I'm sure somebody will pick it up. So yeah. Okay, next is something, once again, I showed you, but again, I picked it up because it was in extraordinary nice condition. It's Fantastic Four. I know this came out in the States, and it's before the end of the VHS era. I'm totally aware of it because, yeah, and yeah, I picked it up because the cover is really cool. It's Fantastic Four. Many people love the superhero films, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me. And also because it was absolutely unfaded, so that's always a plus when I pick up tapes, as you know. So what's the date for this, by the way? Oh, it's December 2005. So it's very, very late for the releases. So I'm sure even in the States it was like inside the last 6 months of releases, I guess. So yeah, that's nice. Once again, is the tape clean? Yeah, see, they're all, I didn't check any of them. So you see, like, only one had mold so far. This one is also mold free. So yeah, fantastic for a near mint copy in stock. I do have another one, but it's not really in, I mean, it's in great shape, just it has sun fade. This one also, I picked it up because I'm like, well, at the price that it was, why not? Because I do have another one in stock, but yeah, has some sun fade. Cassette is mint. Other than the sun fade, everything is in top shape. So yeah, pick this one up. Whoops. I showed it to you before anyway. Let's move on. Now we have two movies by Christopher Nolan. No, it's not the highly demand tape Dark Knight, but very close, very close. So we have Batman Begins and we have The Prestige. So two tapes. This one came out again in the States, so it's not really a late release, but it's close. This one didn't come out in the US, The Prestige. Both of them do have sun fade. It's, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But once again, besides that, the tape, everything is clean. Original Warner Brothers logo on the clamshell. Even you have this punched thing. This happens with many tapes, by the way. Here in this case, it happens to be Warner Brothers, but other label have their own punch hole thingy. So here's WB. So yeah, this is The Prestige, and here we have Batman Begins. I've heard this movie was also in demand regardless, because again, it's Batman. You know, you have Batman fans. It doesn't just appeal to, for example, Christopher Nolan's fans or just some specific VHS genre. It's Batman. So you know, you'll have people who would just want it because it's Batman. So that's why I picked it up. And once again, because the price was right. Okay. Okay, what do we have? We're like over half the tapes right now. The next one, this is The Reaping. I don't think it's anything special. It's one of those like horror films that came out. I think it was directed by Danny and Oxid Pang, which are like two Thai directors, like Chinese Thai directors. And yeah, this came out late 2007. So kind of like July 2007, August 2007. I only picked it up because it was in such great condition, no sun fade. Once again, beautiful tape, beautiful cassette, matching clamshell, Warner Brothers, hey, you know, the whole package there. So that's why I grabbed this one, no other reasons. But maybe somebody will want it. I mean, if you're into horror movies and this is one that, you know, you might have seen, you like the cover, you like the artwork, everything, and it's a very late, not very late, but it's a late release, so I mean, yeah, why not? Okay, what else? Oh, okay, this one was a nice surprise. Again, another one that the sleeve was not in super top shape, but I couldn't pass it because this is Sherlock Holmes. This is quite rare. We're talking here about, let's check with the focus. I think it's 2010, yeah. Oh my god, I'll have to zoom in. Here you go. So here, 2010 5. So we're talking about May 2010 release. And like I said, see at the bottom, this kind of like, yeah, because, you know, the sleeve was sticking out of the clamshell itself. So that's why it got like all beat up at the bottom. I tried to put it back as nicely as possible, and I cleaned everything up. So this is actually in decent shape. It does have some sun fade, of course, but not terrible because the whole thing is blue, and blue kind of sticks well, I guess, other than, for example, yellow. Again, no sun fade. Beautiful copy. Kind of a shame though. Yeah, Warner Brothers. See, you got that bad stain here because it got hit at the bottom here and here. But yeah, 2010 tape. I mean, this is usually it's stuff that I don't pass. You know, even if it's in this shape, this condition, I still pick it up. I mean, if it does look good on the shelf, that's always my main go-to. You know, like my main concern. Like if the tape looks good on the shelf, I pick it up. So regardless if it's slightly wrinkled, if it doesn't like have a stain, for example, on the back, it's the back. You know, you don't display this on a shelf. gonna display it like this or like this. So it does look good. I pick it up, but it's in better shape, by the way, than I think the Star Wars, in my opinion. Okay, let's move on. Something I showed you before, not gonna spend too much time on this, but it's Flags of Our Fathers by Clint Eastwood, who's, by the way, at the time of this video is 93 years old, and he just completed his last feature film. I think he's gonna go into post-production very soon, which is amazing. 93 years old. So yeah, I picked this one up. Never seen this film. I've heard really good things about it, and there was like another film, like The Letters of Iwo Jima, which were like 2 films in the saga or this story, which I have yet to see again. Again, some sun fade on the spine, but other than that, very good. No water damage, nothing. Original clamshell, beautiful tape, la la la. All right, next, this is something from 2006, I think. I can check, I can see the date, it's too small. I think it's 2006. I'm not 100% sure if this came out in the US. I might have come out, maybe not. I think it was really on the fence, meaning like when you had in the States History of Violence, after that you would have this tape that would just come out, you know. So maybe you guys had like screeners for this or something like that. But anyway, in Korea, obviously it came out officially, and this copy was so minty. I was like, well, I'll pick it up. I mean, even though I wasn't too sure, it's a horror film. It has vampires, it has werewolves. It's sort of cult series. It's kind of cool. It's actually a great series. So yeah, I picked it up. I know the other one after this one also came out, the other film called The Rise of the Lycan or something like that, which, by the way, I picked up, but there was no sleeve, only the cassette, and yeah, such a shame. Yeah, so there you go. Underworld 2. Okay, next we're gonna dive into the kids stuff. I know many of you like to check for that. Once again, not my favorite genre. Especially not, you know, the post 2000, 2005, 2006 stuff, because I didn't grow up with these movies, obviously, so the nostalgia doesn't hit me here, but for some of you it might, of course, so why not? I picked up here Night at the Museum 2. I did get part 1 from my last trip when I went to Daegu, so it's really nice to be able to pick up number 2, because this one is getting quite rare, by the way. And here we're talking about 2009 11, which is November. So November 20th, so very end of November. So it's funny, they put the exact date here. So yeah, that makes it a movie that was in the very last year of the VHS cycle. So that's why it's kind of rare to find these days. And in great shape, by the way, besides, of course, the usual like light sun fade. And perhaps here at the bottom, I think that, how do you call it? The sleeve was sticking out slightly, so it may have damaged, but barely. I mean, I'm telling you because I notice it now, but again, it's something that's barely noticeable, and the whole cassette, again, is very clean, original clamshell and all, so yeah. Okay, next. Okay, this is something that for me sold for quite a lot of money recently, but the copy that I did find there was not in top shape, I mean the sleeve. But again, I couldn't leave it there simply because it's a very high demand tape. And we're talking about Ratatouille right here. And as you can see, let me just show it to you on the spine. You see you have that red label, the green, well, my God, I'm terrible with the colors today. So red and blue label. So this is Korean dub, and this is the English original audio. So this one is subtitled in Korean, and this one is simply dubbed in Korean. So this is the one that you would see most often. I mean, whenever you do find a copy of this, because now they're quite hard to find, regardless if it's dub or not. This one is in great shape. but it's not rewinded. It just, well, maybe there's like a little water stain here, but not much. I mean, otherwise it's in decent shape. It does have like a bit of sun fade. This one is the one that we want the most because this is the English version, which is super rare. But yeah, the cassette is fine. But as you can see, look at this. It's, you know, it's just like this kind of stain. I cleaned it up, by the way. I cleaned it up even with ethanol, like with rubbing alcohol and everything. So I did remove as much as I could. Actually, I removed everything. It's just the stain is there, but there's no more like residue or anything. So that is the shame of this tape. But once again, if you look at it from the outside, yeah, if it's sitting on a shelf, and like I said, everything's been neutralized, there's no like mold or anything. There wasn't any mold, to be honest. It was just like water damage. And the cassette was indeed in this condition. This is again something I didn't touch. So the cassette, again, if you want to watch the film, you look at this. I didn't open the cassette, as you can witness. There's nothing that's been open here or cut or whatever. So the cassette it's actually mint. It really just is the sleeve. But this is it. This is the original version in English of Ratatouille. And yeah, if you want it, I'll probably put it at a lower price than the previous one, because the previous one did have a bit of sun fade, but the sleeve was fine, the cassette was fine, everything was fine. This one is really just a sleeve overall, like not super nice, but yeah, 2 copies. Hey, what were the odds? Okay, let's continue with the Disney stuff. This was also quite a surprise because I've never purchased this before. I did probably see it in the past, and I would always pass it, you know, I'll be like, yeah, whatever. But I think some people would be into this because it's Disney, and the Disney stuff always sells, especially the late releases. So this is the Robinson Space. I don't even remember the title, sorry. It's not my era, it's not my generation here. But the Robinson something. And yeah, we're talking about 2007 here, so this is September 2007, so pretty late release. I mean, it's fine. Overall good condition, but we know like water damage, nonsense in this case, just some sun fade on the spine, unfortunately. And the cassette is absolutely gorgeous, and it's in the original Disney clamshell as well, so yeah. Okay, next, it's not a Disney, but I'm gonna continue with the animation because I started with some animation right now. So we got everyone's favorite, which is Space Chimps. Of course, I'm kidding here because I've been told by some of the younger guys that do buy those tapes that this was awful. But maybe some of you did like it, I don't know. I've never seen the film, so what can I say? Again, was in decent shape, a bit of sun fade. Here you go, the Space Chimps, my god. I mean, it looks okay, but maybe it's terrible. And since it's a Korean dub, you have the actors that do play, you know, the Space Chimps, like the characters in the movie. So maybe actually, you know, if you hated the film, maybe it would be actually fun to watch it dubbed. Maybe it would add a layer of fun to the viewing experience, who knows. And here we're talking about 2008-11, so this is nearly 2009, so it's quite late release, and that's the reason why I picked it up. And also because it was very clean. The cassette had no mold or anything, so yeah. Space Chimps. Okay, we're going back to Disney stuff again, something I think I showed you before, but it's the Pirates of the Caribbean 2, another one that never came out in the US. For the longest time, I only had one of the 2 cassettes because, you know, sometimes I do pick up tapes and they're missing one cassette, and it pisses me off because, of course, I cannot sell it. But regardless if the price is good, if the cassette is in great shape, I'll pick it up and I'm like, okay, whatever, maybe I'll find the other half one day. And it did happen with this one. I did find the other half, and I did find another sleeve because I needed the sleeve as well. So I made 1 copy. Of course, one is absolutely unfaded. The other one has a bit of sun fade, but it is what it is. At least it is complete. So we have a complete Pirates of the Caribbean 2 right here, and this one of course will go for sale just like the others, and they are in both in their, let me just focus again, in their nice Disney clamshells here, as you can see. So original clamshells, and the cassettes are super clean as well. So yeah, and the original Disney logo, you know, because again, some people always think, oh, is this like a bootleg? Or no, it's not. So yeah, Pirate of the Caribbean's 2. By the way, I do have a part 3 as well, which is in near mint condition. So if anyone's interested in this, you know, you can perhaps buy both of them. Okay, moving on. Now what I have left, I'm gonna jump back in time a little bit about 2 little curiosities I picked up. They're 2 Korean films that were released respectively. I think this one is 1999, I think. Yeah, 1999. So this one is 1999. This one is 2002. And the reason I picked those up is because they have no DVD releases, or even Blu-ray for that matter. So those films are quite rare, and they're like kind of action-oriented films. I know some people are interested in those, and this is cool because again, those are the only releases for those films. So they came out on tape back then, they're gone, and they were also quite low print, because otherwise I would have seen that again like several times, but it's kind of first time I do happen to see that. So yeah, this one is 2002. It's called, well, if you read it right here, it does say Resistance Without Reason. But yeah, if you look at the Hangul, it translates into Rebel Without a Cause. So it's like an action film. It won some prizes, went to some festivals, like maybe minor festivals. It looked like shot on video almost. It's like one of those films, like early 2000, never had a DVD release, probably went to 1 or 2 festivals, quite unknown, but action film, which I think is cool, by the way. So yeah, so a bit more like of a curiosity, and again, because of the price, that's the only reason I picked it up. This one here, well, it's not shot on video because it does say here 16 millimeters. It was shot on 16 millimeter, and once again, it's one of those kind of action films. It does look like maybe slightly drama action, but 1999 release. Yeah, 1999, 6, 7, so yeah, June 7, 1999, yeah, or July 6th. All right, so yeah, 2 Korean films. I took a chance on those. I mean, maybe it's gonna interest someone. Okay, and finally, we are going to dive into Korean stuff simply because I started with some Korean tapes, so let's continue with that. And the good thing with the ones I'm going to show you is that they are all 2010 releases. Otherwise, I would have never picked them up. So yeah, this one I showed it to you before simply because I had it in stock, but for some reason, I think it was like from a fire sale, and it smelled like really bad, and it had some water damage. It was like all wavy, but the cassette was fine, but it was just that smell I couldn't remove from the tape. But hey, I found another copy here, and it's in great shape, beautiful, so, and it doesn't smell bad. So it's great. So here we have yeah, some kind of hold up movie, and you have those little icons saying like what's in the film. Like they do this stuff also for the video games in Korea, which is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. So let's see with the date. This is May 2010 right here. So in some of the very last 6 months that they released tapes in South Korea. So very rare tape. So the 4 other tapes I'm going to show you, all super rare stuff because it's all 2010. Next one is called A Million, but it's a bit more than a million here. It looks like a billion. So again, late release Korean film with a bunch of good actors of that era. Didn't see the film sadly because at the time I kind of fell off the map with those Korean films, so I didn't really keep up. But it looks like an adventure film. And this we're talking about, I think the film was released, oh no, I'm sorry, this was 2009. I'm sorry, this one is 2009 October. So this is October 2009. I lied, it's not 2010. I was overexcited, I'm sorry. But still fairly late, and that's why I picked it up. And also because it's not a title I would see very often or at all. So yeah, that's why it was a pick. Okay, let's go back with 2010. Okay, this one is super cool cover, to be honest. The cover alone is really nice, even though the movie, I have no idea. Looks like one of those like action guns, you know, typical Korean film, thriller. The only thing is it was a bit damaged at the bottom. Once again, same story. The sleeve was sticking out, so it got like beat up, should I say. Okay, let's check. We have those little logos here at the bottom. And this one is 2010-06, so we have a June 2010 release right here. So quite late film. It's a gangster film for what I can see here. So gangster film 2010 from June with a really fun cover. Okay, next, it's not a gangster film or anything. Again, I'm so bad with the Korean films these days, but apparently this is a very famous actress. She was in a bunch of really big films. Yeah, and probably her too. Anyway, not my kind of film, and it does have a bit of sun fade, even though it's not very apparent. And this is 2010. Again, same thing as the previous one, is 6, so we're also in June 2010 release. So another tape from the last 6 months of VHS life. Okay, and let's finish with a really cool one right here. Boom, we have a movie called what was the title again? I'm terrible with Hangul. Sharpshooters. Sharpshooters. I don't know if you're aware of it. I think someone mentioned this one in one of my previous videos in the comments, saying it was a part of like the last 5 tapes ever released in Korea, aka in the world. And you would be right, sir. So this is the one. It is Sharpshooters. So if we just jump to the date, see, 12/2010. So we have a movie right here that was released the very last month of the VHS existence in South Korea. Of course, there's always that speculations of that movie that came out in 2011. That would be Hunters. That would be the last VHS ever produced in South Korea. And again, I don't know which month. The DVD came out in February, so there's a chance that the tape came out somewhere around the same time, but it's to be confirmed. But this one would be, yeah, probably among like the last 5 to 10 tapes ever released in South Korea. I mean, regardless if it's a Korean film or not, it's among the last 5 or 10 tapes ever released. So yeah, that was a no-brainer for me to take, and also in decent shape. I mean, a bit of sun fade on the spine, but not too much. And the cassette is also pristine, and it comes into this like off-white, like not really transparent, like opaque clamshell, which is something that you would see with many of the very last VHSs that were released. It's the same thing also with my copy of Inception. It does come in this clamshell. So actually, if you break this clamshell, it's such a shame because they're extremely hard to come by. So yeah, there you go. Okay guys, so this was it for our little presentation today. Let me just line up the tapes once again so you can have a look at the beautiful spines. And maybe there's something that, you know, caught your attention, caught your eye, and you would like to buy from me. Maybe, who knows? Because as you know, they're all for sale. I do not want to hold on to any of those, except if it's something amazing that I would, you know, stick to my guns with the price. But otherwise, you know, like I'm very open. Usually I post those tapes on Facebook, and yeah, you get to see them. And maybe ask me questions and so on. So there you go. That's the whole thing right here. I couldn't fit everything in the picture here. I'm sorry, but we have about 30 tapes, 32 tapes. So I guess there's a couple which were like 2 cassettes, so about 30 movies today. This is everything I picked up, or almost, from Daegu, which, by the way, I hope you like the little, video when I showed you around. Maybe you also spotted something that escaped my attention, and you want to write about it in the comments. Say, hey, why you didn't pick this one up, or what is this one on the shelf at 3 minutes 20 seconds, whatever. So yeah, if you have any questions, do not hesitate. Of course, if you're not a member of this, if you didn't subscribe, please subscribe. That always helps the channel. And give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and do not be shy if you have any questions. It's always a pleasure to answer your questions and everything. All right, guys, have a great one, and see you on the next video.